How is it that our education impacts the quality of our lives? And for that matter, what are the relationships between other parts of our lives together and the whole world that education touches? I think that that's what you'll find from Dr. Sipple when he speaks. I'm quite sure that's what you'll find in some of the more detailed presentations that are coming up also. So with that in mind, let's begin. I would like to begin this now by introducing Ben Dixon, the coordinator for the North Country Symposium, and at the same time asking those people who are doing their speaking in the very first session to come on up here and have a seat at one of these, I guess this is our speakers table, so they'll be all ready to go too. While you're doing so, let me introduce Ben Dixon, the person who is really responsible for pulling all of this together and making it happen. Ben?
Hello, good morning, everyone. All right. What we're going to do next in our program is we're going to have a panel here speaking to a number of regional development activities that are happening right now. This is an important time for us to get updated on that and have, an interaction with those folks. You may recall that several symposia ago, for those of you who are repeat offenders here, we had Chuck Fluharty speak about the importance of regionalizing all our efforts in order to address issues of scale. So it's exciting that we have a number of regional activities underway. So what we're going to do is have 4 speakers come up and tell you about what's happening on those events, and maybe what we will do is keep track of any questions you might have for them. Maybe we'll go through the 4 presentations and then open it up to the panel, any questions you might have. So with that, I will first turn the mic over to Keith Zimmerman, who is the director of the St. Lawrence County Planning Office, and has been a valuable contributor to the work of the North Country Regional Economic Development Council, and Keith will give us an update on what's happening with the council. Keith?
Valuable contributor. That just proves you can fool some people all the time. On behalf of the North Country Regional Economic Development Council, I want to thank the symposium organizers for inviting the council to brief you all on its success, its progress, and its plans. Roseanne Murphy, the Regional Director of Empire State Development, regrets not being here today, and she deeply regrets you having to settle for me in her stead. My role with the council is really twofold. I and Matilda Larson on the planning staff served on what was known as the Planning Committee for the first round, and the revamped Planning Priorities and Project Implementation Committee in the second round, and have a continuing role in that process. This is a relatively small group of people from around the region, tasked with both writing the regional plan submissions, amendments, and reports, and also with helping to task the subcommittees with critical needs, and then fitting the recommendations of more than a dozen of those subcommittees into the report on specific aspects of the process. This has led to some long days and an occasional few long nights working out the kinks. The second role I serve is I am the county's sole representative on the Priority Project Selection Committee. There are 7 members, 1 from each county, and we are tasked with finding, refining, and presenting our proposed priority projects from hundreds of submissions every year. The North Country has fared particularly well in the first 2 years of this experiment in regional economic development. As we reported last year at the symposium, in 2011, its transformational document, its first plan, was one of the 4 best plan awardees in New York State and received funding assistance for a broad array of projects totaling over $103 million. In 2012, the region's delivering updated plan was recognized as one of the 2 top performers in the state, and the region received over $90 million in funding support, including some rather unique initiatives. 3 of them that worth noting: there is a new capital investment fund for tourism, for $2 million being controlled entirely locally. There is a Community Infrastructure Development Fund, I think there was just a press release about that released last week, of $2.5 million. And in a surprising development, a supplemental award of $1 million for community development funding that wasn't even asked for was awarded to the region, and we're in the process of putting together a proposal for the state right now. Before I talk about next year, I wanted to share some of the comments of the state's review of the regional plan and its progress, both because it's flattering about the new regionalism that has both been engendered and embraced as a result of this process, and because it points to what those preparing the CFA applications should focus on. In the first part of its assessment, the reviewers focused on how the region built upon its 2011 strategic plan. One criticism received in 2011 was that the region had identified 36 strategies for improvement, which the reviewers believed was frankly unmanageable. In 2012, the region prioritized 12 key strategies to further advance growth. And a priority project, if you want to submit one, must advance one or more of those key strategies. The review committee complimented the North Country Regional Council for adhering to its award-winning 2011 plan, which identified 8 vision points that reflect unique attributes of the region and communities. Getting back to Jim's comments, I think one of the things we looked at as a region when we sat down to work on this, and I mean we, all of us, was figuring out what we are and what we're not, more importantly, and then figuring out what things we had a strategic advantage in and then how to promote them. And the plan did a great job of that. It noted the fact that we provide detailed strategies addressing the region's needs. We outline a multi-year action steps. It also praised the council for continuing its practice of articulating the regional benefits of projects, well justifying priority projects, and demonstrating their linkage with strategies and vision points. It also highlighted the strong role the universities and colleges play within the region, today's symposium being yet another fine example, and complimented the fact that the region not only draws upon the expertise of the academic community, but expanded that considerably to a number of key regional not-for-profits in 2012. The reviewers complimented the NCREDC for helping to form the North Country Higher Education and Research Development Consortium, and it also cited its role in facilitating the formation of the Adirondack Partnership, a broad coalition of Adirondack public, private, and not-profit interests, providing a support network for various institutions. In the second part of its critique, the state reviewers focused on process and organization, and this is what they had to say. The NCREDC has transformed itself into a body focused on implementation. Did you catch that? Vision we got coming out the wazoo. We need projects that can deliver the vision, and the entire focus is now shifted to implementation. The NCREDC reorganized its existing work groups and developed new work groups and committees responsible for various aspects of implementation. A pipeline committee and a workforce liaison group were also appointed. A new priority project and planning implementation committee, known affectionately as the P3IC, replaced the planning committee. It meets every 3 weeks during the heart of the process, and it holds at least one meeting in each of the region's 7 counties and reports regularly to the council on implementation. It also established a robust priority project selection process, and it created this aforementioned priority project committee to help select the projects. To paraphrase the old Life television commercial with Mikey, and if you get this, you're probably older than you routinely admit to, hey, the state, it likes us. So relative to preparing project proposals in 2013, here's what I can tell you. The big question, timing. We're as uncertain about this as everybody else in the room, but we expect that it will likely begin sometime in June. Like everybody else, we're waiting for word from the executive office about the timing of the process. But we do know some things about the new stuff. We know the overall budget and the governor's budget requests for this process will be reduced this year, especially in respect to discretionary money. And programmatic money is obviously subject to the particulars of federal and state funding streams. We know that there will be something the governor is focusing on called regional centers of excellence that will be programmed and focused thematically around the state. We know that the governor is proposing to fund up to 10 innovation hotspots to encourage research to production capabilities. And we know that the state is cognizant about the difficulties being created by most of the funding only being available on a reimbursement basis, and that it is exploring how it can address those difficulties at a number of levels. And here's what I can advise you to do between now and then. Read the update, delivering in particular, and at least the vision articulated in the original plan, which was known as transformative. You need to be able to cite specific compliance with regional visions and strategies to score well, particularly any bonus points in the CFA process, and in particular if you are soliciting a priority project designation. Both of these plans are available online if you search for the North Country Regional Economic Development Council. Use your networking opportunities. I expect the P3IC committee will meet at least once in every county prior to applications being due, and you should chat up your ideas with us then. This committee shapes the plan and can offer you the most direct support and advice relative to it. And I encourage you to get on the newsletter distribution list. I have some copies with me today, but it's also available on the website for the Regional Council. One last observation, if you'll indulge me, and this goes right in line with what Jim was just saying. I think that in some subtle and in some not so subtle ways, the process has truly been transformative, at least with respect to how we view and value regional cooperation, planning, and success. We, a region long challenged by geography but united in demography, have embraced probably more than any other region the concepts implicit in regional planning and regional implementation of significant opportunities. From a professional planner's perspective, this is a particularly rewarding aspect of the project, and it is certainly also consistent with the thematic concepts embraced by this symposium. I'll be glad to speak with any of you later today about specific projects or at your convenience. I and other members of the P3IC group also welcome suggestions. Thanks again for helping us be so successful, for letting us be a part of your success. Let's hope it continues. And thanks for the invite to the symposium today.
Okay, just a moment while I get the next presentation up here. Okay, well, next up is Kate Fish to speak about the North Country Regional Sustainability Plan, and I'm Kate. How you doing? I'm just kidding. I'm not Kate. That's Kate. But Kate couldn't be here today because she had to go to the meet with the governor and his staff in Albany today, and so she asked if I could share with you some information about the Cleaner, Greener Communities Plan that ANCA has been involved with. Kate is the director of the Adirondack North Country Association, who has been the consultant on this project. So basically, I'm going to do my best to be Kate here today, and so bear with me on that, and I'll share with you how you can get further information about this program at the end of the slideshow. So, what is the Cleaner, Greener Communities Program? Basically, it was a program announced by Governor Cuomo in 2011, and it was administered by NYSERDA. And basically how it got started is that each of the 10 regions of New York State, as designated by the governor's office, was given $1 million to create a local sustainability plan that would basically help create sustainable communities and advance economic development. And that it had to have good public-private partnerships, and that then growing out of the sustainability plans that there would be projects to help improve the economic environmental health of the region. So that's how things got started. Phase 1, the Essex County was awarded the project and tasked with developing a regional sustainability plan. And that would include a greenhouse gas inventory assessment for the entire region, the development of the sustainability plan, and an implementation strategy. The second phase involves project funding, and that's coming up. Who was involved in the project? As I noted, Essex County was the lead applicant, and the contract manager for the project, the Adirondack North Country Association, was tasked with the public outreach of the project, the working groups, the stakeholder engagement, and all that sort of thing. And Ecology and Environment, a consulting firm with several offices in New York State, was tasked with the technical work, the greenhouse gas inventory, development of indicators and baselines, and the actual writing of the plan. There were a lot of other people involved in this process. I know there were more than 200 individuals who contributed their time on a volunteer basis. I know a number of them are in this room right now, and contributed to the work that went into developing the plan. There were a lot of public meetings and conferences and work on the website and all kinds of things. And I'm pleased to say that photograph looks like a very familiar location. So the criteria of this sustainability plan that they were putting together had to focus on regional economic development and job creation. It had to think about how greenhouse gas emissions could be reduced in our region, and it had to develop strategies that would begin at the local level and apply right up through the region. So they ended up looking at 7 areas of interest, of focus for the plan. You can see them here: energy, transportation, livable communities, land use, economic development, materials management, water management, and the working landscape. And as they developed strategies in each of these areas, they saw some common themes cutting across them all. Economic development, education, greenhouse gas emissions, governance, and climate adaptation were coming across all of those different working group areas. So they developed some implementation strategies that would help them move forward into the implementation phase, including establishing a management team and continuing to engage the local leadership and stakeholders in the next steps. Phase 2 is coming next. And what that is consisting of, and it should be coming literally within a few weeks, is funding through NYSERDA for actual projects that will advance the